Hello all, and welcome to this. And this will be, let's talk a little AEW. Watched it tonight, watched it last night. Watched Dark. Dark was really long. It's really long. I get why it's long. I get what they try to do, and they're trying to give people like as much exposure and as much like wrestling time as they possibly can. But it was way too long. Yeah, just was it was what it was in a lot of ways, and yeah, so it was really long. That's really the only thing I thought. Squash matches. We did have some interviews finally. It was what it was. That's about all I'm going to say about it. And then we had Dynamite. I thought Dynamite was pretty good. Myself. Maybe that's just me. But yeah. But we started with Wardlow and Hangman Page. Thought this was pretty good. The one thing is that as great as you can see that Wardlow will eventually be, he's still not really great at selling. So when he has to sell, you definitely can see kind of the match just kind of not fall apart, but you definitely can tell the difference. The Page is really good. They told a pretty good story. And yeah, and the part of the story was, I guess, if Woodrow won, the championship, he would give the title to MJF, even though that's what MJF wanted. Wardlow was like, "You're crazy," but anyways, still pretty good. Hangman won, which I think everybody kind of knew would happen, even though this was a tape show. Even if you kind of knew where they were going. So yeah, it was a fun little thing. So, and it was pretty good. Then we had Moxley come out, do a promo, basically talking about his match with Eddie Kingston, hyping it up. These two guys have done an amazing job hyping up a match that no one should want to watch, because it's these two are like great on promos, and it shows just how great it can be when you have two guys who are great on promos just going at each other, which is funny because, yeah, we will get there in a minute. Then we had Eddie Kingston versus Matt Seidel. This was I would say it served its purpose with Eddie Kingston winning with the submission to kind of, submit the fact that, hey, I can do submissions too, kind of thing, and him cutting another really good promo, which is what we want, is good promos. So there we go. Then we had we had FTR and the Young Bucks. This was kind of pointless in a lot of ways. I don't understand. I feel like they've been way too like cutesy and a way too like overthinking this feud when they could have just been very straightforward with it, and they just haven't done that for whatever reason. With the Young Bucks, are they heels? Are they not heels? Now they're faces, type of thing. Though we are getting we're getting the Cody step, where if they lose, they will not go for the championships again. I think this is kind of an interesting story, because I think if they lose, and then we have Omega eventually maybe do the exact same thing, and then at some point something happens and they basically have to have a match where, yeah, if we win, we go for all the titles again. Interesting. Maybe somewhere down the line. Just saying. But it does seem kind of weird that you would do that, but it is what it is. Then we had the town hall meeting. This was not so great, in my opinion. I got what they were kind of do. To me, if you're going to do like, hey, let's do a town hall meeting, and let's do it for comedy, and let's, you have to go like full board. You have to like either go like way over everybody's head with like really, really, really highbrow political comedy where you're poking fun at like everybody, or you have to just play it like, or you really can't do it because it just comes off as like really bad. And in my opinion, that's just kind of the way I felt about it. We had Luchasaurus come out. He did a little thing. It was okay for what it was. So we had Britt Baker, which was, again, okay. We had Peter Avalon, who, his was pretty funny because he was just like, hey, can I join the Inner Circle? And they all were like, no. So that was good. Then we had Eric B., who was Eric Bischoff, which was pretty funny. And this is the second time we've had like this like debate or type of thing, and he's been on it, so I think that's kind of neat. But he had 3 questions, and his questions were pretty interesting, which eventually led to Chris Jericho basically telling MJF if he wants to join the Inner Circle, they will have a match at Full Gear, and if MJF wins, then he gets to join the Inner Circle, and everything kind of went from there. It's like, if you're going to have it seems way too early for them to have a match like this, unless they're just going to have a match like this, and he's going to win, and everything's going to be okay. Though it was very, very clear that the rest of the Inner Circle did not care for MJF at all. So next week we get Sammy and Ortiz. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah. So that was it. Started off really bad, and I think that at the end it got like really good. So there was that. Then we had the Lumberjack match with Cody versus Orange Cassidy. I thought this was really good. One of the things I really absolutely liked about this was that, basically everyone thought that Orange was going to be like his normally like, ooh, goofy stuff. And he did do some of his goofy stuff, but then his goofy stuff turned into like serious, like, ooh, I'm tricking you type thing. And also the Lumberjacks, especially like the people who were friends of Orange, even though he's a face, and the people who were friends with Cody, even though he's a face, and they were on the same side, were helping their buddies out, which is kind of the point of a Lumberjack match, even though on the other side we had all the heels, and of course we had the big schmoz at the end. But as far as like continuing the story, I thought this did really well. It'll be interesting to see where they go from here. I thought maybe this would lead to a 3-way at the pay-per-view, but it doesn't look like we're going in that direction. But we will see where it goes. So Cody won, thanks to interference from the Dark Order, which then is going to lead to a match with Silver and Orange at the pay-per-view. So yeah, there's that. And I guess we're also getting we're also getting Best Friends and the Gamers. I will call them the Gamers at the pay-per-view as well. Yeah, so there was that. So yeah. Then we had a women's match that was really good. We had Serena Deeb versus Leyla Hirsch. So with the women, we always get, and I should point out that LV on Twitter pointed out that it looked like they were setting up like 6-man tag title match, like a 6-man tag title belts somewhere down the line. And I firmly believe this. I think if they announce that, people are going to be all like, oh my God, they're doing that before they do like a women's tags. Let's talk about the women's division in AEW, because that's always such a wonderful thing to talk about. This match was really good. This match was the type of match that you would expect the women to have on AEW, so that but it's not the matches we get, because the women that can get into the country and the women who are not hurt cannot necessarily have this good of a match. That's no disrespect to any of them, because I just don't think they are at that level yet. You can see that many of them are very good. You can see that many of them eventually will be great. They're just not there yet. And when people complain, hey, why do the women get put on the back burner all the time? This is not a match you would normally see. This is not as good of a match you will normally see. And because of that is why they get put on the back burner, because you don't have enough women who can go out and do a match like this. So there is that. So yeah, and this of course was for the NWA Championship because Serena won the championship. Because it looks like I guess Rosa's going to WWE. Maybe I don't know. It looks like it. Perhaps we will see. I guess. So there was that. Then we had Shawn Spears versus VSK. This was a complete, utter, complete squash, which was only there to set up the fact that Scorpio Sky was there dressed up as a bull so that he could get kind of revenge on Spears. So there was that. Then we had Kenny Omega versus Penta. This was great. And what makes this even, I think even more great in some ways is that I don't think, even if this was live, I think people would be like, oh, Penta's not winning. But the thing that I think people forget, and I always think this, because I really feel like, especially Penta, and I know everyone's really high on Phoenix, and I get why. And that's not and I'm not trying to disrespect Phoenix. I'm not trying to play down Phoenix. Phoenix has spectacular matches. That said, Penta is the guy who definitely is the main eventer of the two. And when you see him in a match like this, you definitely can see it. I think people always forget that if they need that other main eventer, they always have Penta in their back pocket. And I think that he kind of gets wasted in a lot of ways in the tag teams. I really do. But this was really great. It started off not so great. If you know me at all, if you follow me on Twitter, you probably saw I absolutely despise comedy Kenny Omega, to the nth degree. When everybody, before he went to New Japan, before he even kind of really got really hot in PWG, or I guess just as he was probably getting hot in PWG, and everyone was like, oh, this guy is just amazing, and I would watch his matches, and I'd be like, no. It's like, no, I don't want to see this. This is not what, I don't like this at all. And I still don't. And the fact that we started off with this is absolutely crazy to me. Again, he came off as a complete heel. I don't know what Dave Meltzer was thinking when he said that, oh, no, Kenny Omega's not being a heel. Other than he's not coming up the heel entrance. But he's definitely, a heel who's pretending to be a face. I mean, that's definitely what he is. He did have the Mega Championship with him. I know that some people was like, hey, he should defend the Mega Championship. That would be kind of cool. He did have it with him. He kind of showed that off a little bit. But the start of the match, I was just like, oh, my God, please just don't let this be this. Because Penta sometimes will do that, too, where he'll just do, okay, I don't have to do a lot of work, so I'm not going to. That's not eventually what we got, thank God. But this was really, really good stuff. They work so well together, and again, I'm like a big Penta mark, so yeah, there we go. I thought this was great, especially given the fact that, like I said, I don't think anyone didn't think Kenny Omega was going to win, and Kenny Omega won. So there was that. This was a great show. Not a great show, but it was a great match. I thought the show itself was pretty good. I thought the stuff that worked really worked, and I thought the stuff that excuse me. Thought the stuff that didn't work, kind of didn't work. Just there was kind of no in between in a lot of ways. Still thought the show was really good. Really enjoy it. Looking forward to Full Gear. I think I'm pretty sure it's going to be way too long of a pay-per-view. I'm almost positive it's going to be way too long of a pay-per-view because that's what AEW does, unfortunately. That said, I still think it should be a lot better than All In, I would think. So yeah. So or All Out, whichever one the last pay-per-view was, which was not very good. I think they'll definitely make up for it here. So there we go. So without further ado, that is that. With that, I'm out. You guys have a good one, and later.